State Civil Service strategizes toward achievement of civil service reforms. Senate President assures Nigerians of federal government plans to continue to regulate fuel subsidy. Plus, House of Representatives amend Electoral Act Bill approves direct and indirect primaries. Details in just a moment. Good evening and welcome to NTA News at 7. I am Erika Ivi, now on the news and details. In line with the federal government's civil service reforms to boost a human capacity system to maximize administrative values, the Cross River State is strategizing to domesticate all aspects of these reforms to revitalize the civil service system in the state. Ode Aleyon speak with some critical stakeholders in the state workforce in Now reports.
The Nigerian civil service consists of employees in government agencies other than the military and police. As career personnel, civil servants carries out the work of government and delivers public services in line with the latest civil service reforms to promote government programs and policies both at federal and state levels. This is what the Cross River State Civil Service say is ongoing with training and retraining of the workforce for expected maximum productivity.
Let us turn a new leaf. I told them that if we are productive, government will do more for us. But where our conduct falls short of government expectations, it becomes difficult for you to canvass for government to do more when our workers themselves are not doing much.
But how will the productivity be enhanced with incessant labor agitation and industrial actions?
There was some degree of lacuna, in communication between the past head of service and His Excellency and the labor. So we think that it is going to bridge this gap that has existed before now.
The government said in 2022, she shall meet all those. And we are believing that with the new head of service, we are hoping that the memorandum of action or agreement would be consummated to the letter.
For this year, 2022, we are quite optimistic. We are also heading towards electioneering period, 2023. We want to believe that government will do their part to deliver on good governance, and as Labour to do our part to collaborate and partner with government to ensure that the dividend of democracy is delivered to the people of Cross River State.
Government is all of us. So all what we need is that collaboration. And we need an enabling environment. That's all we need. And things will begin to move. At the bottom and the heart of governance, it's at the best interest of the ordinary man.
Majority of labor issues emanate as a result of gap in information. You understand me? So labor leaders themselves, they are Cross Riverians. Labor leaders know that Cross River sits, delicately number 35 in the revenue chart out of 36 states. The labor leaders themselves, they know that in spite of all challenges, revenue inflow challenges and then suffocating debt overhang, that this government means well to the workers. So with labor, one or two issues would crop up. And your ability to engage with labor and put the cards on the table will determine how you are able to weather the storm. I would engage more with labor. I would partner with labor. Where we need government to, work with labor and assuage their feelings, I wouldn't hesitate to recommend that.
The labor stakeholders, however, agree that with understanding and commitment from government, expected services from the civil servants will be accomplished. In Calabar, Ode Aleyon, NTA News.
The Nigerian police is building manpower that is committed, ready to learn and adapt to technological innovations being deployed by the force in the onslaught against banditry and other forms of criminality. Inspector General of Police Alkali Baba Usman while addressing officers and men of the Akwa Ibom State Police Command, insists that since crime is dynamic, the police is not taking chances, hence the deployment of more tools to aid investigation. Clement Barikwi reports.
It is the first working visit of the Inspector General of Police to Akwa Ibom State, an opportunity to boost the morale of officers and men of the State Police Command. IGP Nta Calabar Usman tasked the officers on self-development in order to be at par with their global contemporaries. Already, the force, according to the IGP, has purchased 6 fighter helicopters in addition to other equipment for marine and land policing.
We must work with time, we must work with modernity, and therefore, one of our cardinal principles in this job now is to train and retrain ourselves.
Akwa Ibom State Commissioner of Police Andrew Amiegemen says the new policing tactics of the IGP is paying off in Akwa Ibom State, as evidenced in various breakthroughs of the command within the last 1 year.
Our crime fighting strategy has yielded positive results, making the state a destination of choice to tourists and investors alike.
The IGP was in Akwa Ibom State to inaugurate the Special Protection Unit Base 27 Una. In Oyo, Clement Barikwi, NTA News.
Away from that, the acclaimed leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, Nta Calabar, has been arraigned on the 15-count charge preferred against him by the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nta Calabar pleaded not guilty to all the 15 counts charge preferred against him. Having taken his plea, the prosecution counsel, Swaibu Labaran, told the courts that the prosecution was ready to proceed on the matter. Counsel to the defendant, Mike Oziekome, informed the court of 2 pending applications, one to quash the 15-count charge, and the second application was the motion for the bail of Nta Calabar. After argument and counter-argument on the preliminary objection by both counsel, the court ruled that the preliminary objection will be heard before commencement of trial. Due to the fact that prosecution has the right to reply to the preliminary objection raised by the defendants, the court adjourned hearing of the preliminary objection to 16th of February 2022. The Senate has reconsidered and passed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2010, which now provides that the decision for mode of party primaries should be reserved for political parties. This followed the rescinding of its earlier decision on party primaries, which provided only direct primaries for choosing candidates for political parties, and recommittal to the Committee of the Whole, where the observations of Mr. President as reasons for declining assent to the bill was addressed.
Senate records that the President Commander-in-Chief has signified the withholding of his assent to the Electoral Act No. 6, 2010, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2021, which was passed by the National Assembly and forwarded to the President for assent on the 18th of November 2021. Senate knows that the rationale for withholding the assent borders on his observation on clause 84 of that bill. Desirous of the need to address the observation by Mr. President Commander-in-Chief and make necessary amendments in accordance with Order 87C of Senate Standing Orders 2022 as amended.
Clause 84 as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. A new electoral law based on the observations raised by Mr. President.
The bill now provides that political parties will decide to adopt direct, indirect, and consensus in choosing their candidates. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has amended Section 84, subsection 2 of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill, approved direct and indirect primaries for the nomination of candidates for elected positions. The House, at the commencement of plenary, immediately went into closed door, at the end of which sitting resumed in a tense atmosphere. Aligned with House rules, the Electoral Act Amendment Bill was recommitted for consideration, during which the earlier approved clause, which provides that direct primaries shall be adopted for nomination of candidates by political parties, was rescinded. The amendment now provided direct and indirect primaries. It, however, does not provide for consensus as a mode of nomination of candidates by political parties. You're watching news reaching you from the studio of Nta Calabar. You can also watch this newscast from my YouTube channel at YouTube/Nta Calabar. More news when we return. Don't go away. Welcome back to the rest of the bulletin. Almost on a daily basis, Nigerians have in recent times experienced the crudest form of cyberbullying by online loan companies. Achibombase reports that the act of sending unsolicited defamatory text messages to person whose contract details are listed on a defaulter's form has persisted.
The proliferation of online loans in Nigeria has become a necessary evil for low-income earners who are coerced to access funds to cushion the harsh economic realities in the country. With here is a beneficiary who has a not-too-pleasant experience to share.
It's really an ugly experience. I think a few weeks ago, I took a very small loan.
How much was it?
This, we're talking about like 10,000, and I'm supposed to pay in 2 weeks' time with an interest of 5,100 naira. That I'm supposed to pay in 2 weeks' time like 15,100 naira. 25th of December, I think that loan was supposed to expire on the 1st of January. 25th of December, I had an accident. I lost my phone at that process. And it was a difficult moment for me because I could not retrieve my line, and that period was down. 2 days or 3 days after the expiration of the loan, I started, because I was not on phone, so I couldn't, people couldn't get to me because by then I've not retrieved my line. I stayed off network for like 2 weeks plus because of the difficulties involved in me retrieving my line. So my girlfriend, who comes around, now saw a message on her Facebook and WhatsApp, like with my name and my phone number, attacking me, a fraudster who collected a loan from an online, I think this is an online company we're talking about, is the GoCash. Their name is GoCash, who collected a loan from them and have run away with their money. Anybody who knows me or who has any financial doings with me should cease that I'm not a trustworthy person. The annoying part of this is, when they are sending this message, they don't give details of who they are. and they don't give how much you owe them. So kind of like, because people will now be like, what are we even talking about here?
Mr. Ruben Idagara is an online loan operator. He describes shaming of defaulters by fintech firms as unethical.
You have the money, you do not want to pay, we see you as being fraudulent. Then of course the banks has a policy of dealing with those set category.
This beneficiary here is just one out of the several Nigerians who have had even worse experiences with online loan operators. For Deadline 360, Achibong Basi.
On a business scene, the relocation of the Ikoromin public market to Ikot Enobong main market, which was along the highway at 8 miles in Calabar municipality, has continued to attract reactions from traders and buyers. Maureen Leo Ajong visited the location and now reports.
Investigation reveals that the Ikot Oman market has over the years been one of the major markets in Calabar municipality, where business transactions usually take place every Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays of a week, even after stoppage by the former governor, Donald Duke. The tourism drive of Governor Duke directed the relocation of the market to Ikot Enobong as a permanent 8 miles market to check distractions and accidents along the road in Calabar. Investigation further reveals that the traders, however, refused to relocate to the new Ikot Enobong market. The development is, however, being received with mixed feelings as the traders lament their plight as a result of the relocation, while consumers decry the inconveniences of going to the Ikot Enobong market.
In every place in the world, you see that market is always on the roadside. So women were selling here. There was nothing happened. The next thing they put a notice that they have been driving women several times. And they are robbing people. Even day before yesterday, they robbed people there. Even yesterday, they still rob people there. And some of the women that do not have money to pay their shop there or whatever they call themselves. Some of them, their goods in their house spoiling.
I'm very much sorry about what had happened to all women, because all the women in this community are crying. It is like we do not have leaders in this community.
The relocation to Dora market is affecting most of us, the sellers. Those that are selling fruit, there's no space in Dora market for fruit sellers. The other side is meant for timber and wholesalers. But for the food stuff, we don't have spaces that side for food stuff.
Buy people here, entire union, they charge us 100 naira from there to here. Some people cannot afford to pay from Yonshan to that place. Some go and come back is 200 naira. Then when you drop here and buy something, it's 50 naira.
I am right now at the Ikot Omen market, where the foundation laying ceremony of this market was unveiled by the then nation's first lady, Hajia Turai Yaradua, in 2007.
This plaque captured, however, indicates that in the year 2007, this section of Ikot Omen market was unveiled by the then Nigeria's first lady, Hajia Turai Yaradua, during the foundation laying ceremony as fruits and vegetable market under power. Although efforts to speak with relevant stakeholders for in-depth details on the relocation were not successful. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
And moving on, strengthening warning system to regulate public health measures and ensuring an accelerated vaccination coverage, especially for high-risk groups, are strategies to tackle the rising Omicron variant. Health experts in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, made this submission while expressing dismay at how low Nigerians have dropped their guards in observing COVID-19 precautionary measures. Ifoma Haihoje reports.
Just as the tide of the highly infectious Delta variant of COVID-19 was ebbing,
the world was saved another grim notice of the outbreak of a more vicious strain, the Omicron variant. Faced with the current wave and with less than 2% of Nigerians being fully vaccinated, experts say Nigeria is potentially vulnerable to the highly mutative and virulent powers of the Omicron.
It's quite disappointing that people that are educated will now really give attention to this. They may just have some funny belief that you will least think of, that these things do not exist.
It's unfortunate that, Nigerians are no longer safety conscious.
We should educate the public. Like we're here, we need to let them know that COVID is still here with us. COVID is real.
Citizens are therefore reminded that they are their own greatest protectors against the viral infection. Hence, they need to up their guard, especially by observing the standard COVID-19 rules.
Universal caution that we are supposed to have, wear face masks, have some social distancing and all that. But I feel recently we're not doing that. And also we are not interested in taking the vaccine.
It's to play safe, wash hands regularly, and avoid crowd, most especially now that we are going to politicking 2022 here.
Proper use of the face mask, washing of hands, and the social distancing.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has continued to harp on the need for wide vaccination coverage, especially in high-risk groups, as a means of curbing the impact of COVID-19. In Uyo, Ifoma Ihoji, NTA News.
Cross River State Governor Professor Benayade has promised his administration commitment to reposition sports in the final phase of his administration through the upgrading of sporting facilities as well as training and retraining of sportmen and women in the states. The governor stated this during an interview in Calabar. Chairman of the Cross River State Sports Commission, who took government house correspondents around some of the facilities at the UJSN Stadium, revealed that the Olympic-sized swimming pool with the supporting one, which was under litigation, is receiving a facelift.
With the inability of Cross River State to host the 2014 National Sports Festival, sports facilities in the state have been in its lowest ebb, but with the renewed vigor of Governor Benayade for work and relaxation to meet at a point, there is massive renovation ongoing at various sporting facilities.
We are making provisions for tourism to strive side by side with business, with industries. Because at the end of your hard work, you also need to relax. The Sports Commission is working very fast on the rehabilitation of the stadium and all the sporting facilities, including the Olympic-sized swimming pool we have in the SONS Stadium in Calabar. I also know that the special swimming pool, the stainless steel pool we have at the bottom ranch, in Obudu Cattle Ranch, is also perfectly working. And we just concluded the reform and total maintenance and overhaul of the cable car. And the renovation of the ranch is a major issue in the even 2022 budget for its major renovation and bring in an international partner to run the ranch.
Chairman of Cross River State Sports Commission, who took government house correspondents around some of the facilities at the UJSN Stadium, revealed that the Olympic-sized swimming pool, with the supporting one which was under litigation, is now receiving a facelift.
He gave us funds. We tried to clean out the gates, the structure of the face of the commission, the administrative building. We started there last December, and then we got into the pool. What we're doing here is, because we saw our performance in Edo 2020, we knew that it was necessary to rejig, it was necessary to rejig the swimming culture of Cross River. Cross River, from history, is known to be a swimming state. We've had most of our medals from swimming. Here we were with a moribund facility, world class. This swimming pool here, you see, is the best in Africa. This place is the only pool that trains the Nigerian Army, the Air Force, the Navy.
The swimming pools to be launched on 14 February 2022 will perform dual purposes, as it will be open to the public for recreation as well as serve for the training of athletes for competitions. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
We come to the end of the news tonight, but before we go, a recap of the top stories. The Cross River State Civil Service has strategized towards the achievement of civil service reforms. Senator President Ahmed Lawan has assured Nigerians of federal government's plans to continue to regulate fuel subsidy in the interest of Nigerians. You also heard in the news that House of Representatives has amended the Electoral Act Bill, has approved direct and indirect primaries for nomination of candidates by political parties. That is the news. Stay safe. Thanks for watching. Good night.